Hi, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in New Zealand, and I've got a tip for how to help you design cards easier. Now, I've been doing cards for many years and doing paper crafts for ages, and just recently I came up with the idea to make me basically cheat sheets for the mats that I use on the cards, because I used to create a card and then try to figure out what sizes to cut each mat for depending on the layers I'm doing. And instead of having that written down in notes, sometimes I did, I would basically be recreating it almost every time I did it. So I finally decided to make samples of different mat sizes in different colored paper so I can quickly decide what size I need and what would look best for the card I'm designing. So what I did is I started out with a full size background of a card. So if I wanted the paper or just the mat to be the full size of the card. And here in New Zealand we work with A4 metric sizes. However, I grew up in the United States, so I'm still work in my mind with imperial sizes. So what I did is I cut a piece of cardstock to 14.85 centimeters and 10.5 centimeters, which is 5 3/16 inches and 4 1/8 inches. Now, if you are in a country that uses a different size cardstock, just start with the size for your main part and then reduce it by how much of an edge you want. So I just decided to reduce it by 5 centimeters each level to give me different size mats. So that would be the full size there. And then the next size I cut was 5 centimeters down. So it's 14.3 by 10 centimeters. I dropped the 0.05. And then I went down again at 13.8 by 9.5. Now I wrote the inches on it as well because my cutter has both inches and centimeters in it. Sometimes it's easier to get to the inch size versus the centimeter size. And carried on down as small as I want it to get, which ended up being 9.3 by 5 centimeters. Now the way you use these is when you're designing your card, choose whichever card type you'd like. So this one is the standard opening normal size card, which is looking portrait. This is another card that looks portrait, but this one opens, if it decides to, that way around. This is the same size card, same fold, but this opens landscape way. So once you decide what type of card you're going to make, then you can play around with your different mats. Now I suggest you do the mats in different colors. I just used some scrap paper that I had because if you do it in the same color, you can't really see the effect. So if I decide that I want to do a card and I want to have that size matting and then I want to jump down to the next size, you can see there's just a little bit of an edge. So that's 5 centimeters smaller, but that gives you 2.5 centimeters on all sides. Now if I want to show a bit more of the background color, then I would go down one size less. And that way you can carry on and do different elements. So I could do something even, oh, that's scrap paper, see, I told you. So I could do different things. And so on all these cards, you can see this here, I only went down one size. So the DSP on this one, Designer Series paper, I just went down one size. So you can see it's that size. And then I just cut it to make that shape. This one has 2 mats on it. So I've got the silver is this size, and then I went one size down from that to give me the blue. And then it makes it easier for when you're cutting because you have your measurements written on the other side. And then you can go so far as to make several mats. So this one I've got the cardstock matted, I've got Designer Series paper matted, and then I've gone with 2 other mats. That was cut out with the stitched rectangles, so it makes it much easier. But when designing it, you would then just get out the size that you're looking to use and layer it up, and that gives you a visual of what would look good. And then here's another card that has designer series paper and then 2 other mats to make it make the image stand out. And that's what matting does. It gives you a differentiation from the rest of the card and helps it to stand out. Now with this one, I think it might have been better to actually have the inside stamped image on a smaller piece, so you would see more of the pink around the edge. And then this one goes slightly different, where the DSP is there, but then the inside part is slightly offset and a different size. Something like that, you could start with your base card, do a matting there, and then you could go so far as to choose to have something offset like there with maybe another size. And then you can move it around. You could have it right centered, or you could have it off centered, and that just helps you play around to help design your cards. And that way you don't do what I do, which in the past, where I used to end up cutting lots of different cardstock and then finding that I didn't have enough around the edge, or I had too much around the edge, and trying to figure out which matting worked best for the card that I'm going for. So I suggest you create yourself some cheat sheet mats in various sizes according to what country you're in and what sizes that you use. And if you like that tip, please give me a thumbs up, and I welcome any comments that you have, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel for more future design ideas. I will put in the comments the names of all the different stamps and papers that were used for these card samples if you want to actually copy any of these cards in the future. So thanks a lot for watching. Bye.